everybody. It's Jeff Antoniuk. Welcome to Guided Listening. So today we're going to listen to some Wayne Shorter, cool tune of his called Adam's Apple, one of the many, many cool tunes. And this is from the important album called Adam's Apple. This has Herbie Hancock on piano. We're going to be talking about Herbie. It has Joe Chambers on the drums. It has Reggie Workman on the bass, and then Wayne. So it's a quartet recording. And before we go any further, I want to thank, there's a bunch of people have been coming into JazzWire recently, folks who have been listening to this channel for years and checking out the videos and wanting to finally make a move and get going. It's great to listen to, I appreciate you listening to my videos. There's so many other great people out there giving all sorts of good information. As you know, good information and great information is not what gets us going. It's helpful, it's interesting, it's a way to spend the time, but I think about all those self-help books I have on the bookshelf. Those did a total of pretty much no good. It's just kind of how it works. What worked for me is getting a mentor and learning about such and such, getting a mentor and getting help with this goal that I have. That's what got me moving. And that's what's going to get you moving inside JazzWire. So I would really encourage you to take the leap of faith. It's not a huge commitment time-wise or financially or anything. Just invest in yourself like that. Every time, you know what I'm talking about. Every time you do it, it works. And every time you kind of half do it, it doesn't work. I'm glad you're here, though. Let's talk about Wayne Shorter. All right, so this tune is sort of one of those more modern blue note sounds that we were hearing in the mid-'60s. This is from 1966, a boogaloo. It's sort of a little funky. It's kind of Latin, but it's funkier than Latin. And now, I think 2 years before this, 1964 maybe, Herbie Hancock had his early hit, or somewhat early in his recording career, the song Cantaloupe Island, that he recorded later with the Headhunters. But it had this classic piano line. Boo-da, blah, doo-da, boo-da, blah, doo-da. It got sampled by rap groups later. It had a recurring bass line, a recurring piano part, and then a memorable melody over top. And lo and behold, that kind of sold a little bit, right? And so during this era, a lot of albums had this kind of vibe. So there was often a recurring bass line, which is different for jazz. Usually jazz has a walking bass line. It's just dang, 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 note, 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 note. It's fantastic. I love it, but it's an improvised bass line. Here, there's a rhythm inside. Same thing with the drum part. There's sort of a bit more of a set drum part as opposed to just swinging on the cymbal in a very personal and grooving way, which is what jazz is all about. The piano. So we're going to listen a lot to Herbie and listen to, so he's comping, right? So he's either comping the entire time or he's taking a solo. So I want you to listen to his comping. Those of you guitar players, piano players out there who comp, you know that you're making up the rhythms a little bit out of nowhere. There's some historical perspective. You've listened to your favorite compers. You've listened to Red Garland. You've listened to Joe Pass, whoever it is, and you've used that. Maybe there's little elements from the melody you use in your comping, but you're mostly making it up. I want you to think about how Herbie is making it up. How is he approaching this song? Is it different than if you were playing All the Things You Are or something like that? And the tune is a twice as long blues. A blues is usually 12 measures. This is a 24-measure blues. It's got sort of some substituted chords that are atypical. Instead of going to a 4-chord, musicians, you'll know what I'm talking about, it goes to a flat 7 chord. It goes to a different place. It's where we would expect a different sound, but the different sound is different. It's Wayne Shorter. What are you going to do? He's into Wayne. Wayne likes being Wayne. All right, so I tell you what, let's jump into it, and I'll talk to you a little bit about it over top. I'm sure many of you have heard this recording, but man, there's so much hiding underneath. I'm excited to talk about it. And then this. So Herbie's line is connected to the bass line, but has a little more busyness to it. Are they still doing it? Yeah. The chord changes, but they stay with that idea. We're listening just to the accompaniment. Here's the turnaround at the end, and every chorus, a break. The rhythm section stops, and there's a little sort of solo moment in the melody. Second chorus. Herbie is just a machine, right? He's just cranking out that same thing over and over again. Same with Reggie Workman on the bass. And listen to Joe Chambers, right? Same thing. He's really playing a part. The drums isn't standing out in a good way. And it's an interesting melody. It's a lot of long notes, isn't it? All right, here's the first solo. Wayne played the same thing 5 times there. He played that ba-ba-doo-da. Very motivic. We're going to hear that. And now, listen to the piano and bass. That boom ga ga da 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 boom ga ga. So Herbie is still in that zone, but now he's a little further up on the piano. Some octaves, sort of a bigger sound, but it's still this recurring rhythm, right? He improvises around it a bit, but then he comes back to recurring rhythms. Same thing in the bass. Ba, 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 ba. There's Wayne again. Changes it the 4th time. So there's a lot of this. Every chorus, he shows up with a new idea at the beginning of the chorus. And now he's sort of more freely improvising. Bebop lines. Okay, a little excitement. Here comes the next chorus. And now he kind of leaves that idea. He showed up with a new idea, didn't he? Listen to Herbie. It's really rhythmic, right? Listen, keep listening to Herbie. Keep listening to Herbie. That Now Wayne's done. And Herbie's like, oh, you're done? So his comping became the beginning of his solo. He's well into his solo, and he's still using his comping as his solo. This is what he was playing behind Wayne. So it has interest of its own as a background, but as foreground as his solo. Ask yourself this: has Herbie played a single note yet ever in this song? So it's all chords in his left hand, sometimes just octaves, but lots of double stops. So his solo isn't single lines, it's a chord solo. Cool. And again, it's about the rhythm as much as it is about the notes. It's quite bluesy, right? So what we love about this song, I think, is the engine underneath. And an engine has what? Repetition. So I think, sounds like, now we're calming down. This sounds like an interlude. I'm guessing maybe the melody. Wow, I'm a good guesser. Listen to the melody on the way out. I talked over it on the way in. Long, long, long notes. All this rhythm underneath. All that rhythm underneath, and the long melody allows all that rhythm underneath to make sense. Smooth up here, turbulent down here. So here comes the end of the melody, second time. Here's the end of the tune. Oh, there's that motif again. Very motivic playing, right? And that exact motif, ba-ba-doo-da, Wayne used that at least 3 times as a major motif in his solo, and I'm sure he used 2 adjacent notes other times. So I have some questions about this, and I'm not going to get to ask Wayne, at least not in a traditional sense anymore. But when I meet Herbie, I'm going to ask him. So what I want to know from Herbie is, did Wayne give him that piano part, which is integral to this song, or did Herbie, without anyone saying anything, know this song needs this engine, and he came up with it? Or did Wayne say, hey, Herbie, come up with something kind of like Cantaloupe Island from 2 years before? So I'd love to know how that worked, but it definitely has the signature of Herbie. So I'm going to guess Herbie had something to do with it. But I would just love to know how, like, these two geniuses, how much was talked about and how much was just like they knew what needed to happen and they ran the play, right? So that would be very interesting. That ba-ba-doo-dot thing that Wayne plays so much, is that... was that something he was hearing as part of the song? If he played the song live 5 times, would that ba-ba-doo-dot thing be part of it? Or was that just that day in Rudy Van Gelder's studio that he heard that and he kept hearing it, and at some point maybe there was a conscious or unconscious decision like, yeah, this is part of the tune today. Interesting, but he did it so much, so often, so many different times, that there was something there, right? And so those are the interesting things when we analyze a movie or a poem, or especially improvisation like this. It's kind of fun to get to know what's going on. Would I allow myself to play that simple a motif that many times in that many situations in the same song? I'm going to say no. I would have judgments that would be too simple. And here is one of the geniuses of the music teaching me a lesson from the great beyond, like, dude, get over yourself, and if it works, do it. Those are the lessons I get. So when I do these guided listenings, I learn, I hate to say it, but more than you guys, maybe. I get so much out of listening to these recordings a couple times in advance. I don't listen to them, 20 times over and over. I don't, do a lot of research online. I want to be familiar enough with some things, and I also want to be surprised as I'm listening to you. And I want, some honest reactions as I hear it. So, I love doing this stuff, and thank you for enjoying it. As I said early on, huge welcome to this really nice influx of people coming into Jazzwire. I'm so excited to work with you. I have folks new from Canada, from South America, from across the United States. We've got a couple new people from Europe. We have a lot of folks from Europe, and some new folks from Europe. So thank you. Looking forward to working with you all. For those of you that have been kind of putting this off for months and years, now's the time. And sign up, take the free trial, but just jump right in, and I'll look forward to working with you inside Jazzwire. Take care. Have a good week.